If you've ever trusted someone so much that you ignored every red flag, this story is for you. Imagine sitting alone at a fancy restaurant on your birthday, watching couples laugh around you while you're waiting for her. 2 hours later, she walks in with another man. She kisses him, looks at you, and says, "See? Told you he'd still be here," like a loyal dog who doesn't know when to quit. That night, she laughed. But when she got home, her clothes were waiting for her outside in garbage bags. Because sometimes peace starts where patience ends. This is how I turned my heartbreak into peace. If heartbreak had a sound, it would be the ticking of that restaurant clock. Each minute that passed felt heavier than the last, echoing through the polished walls and into my chest. It was my birthday. My fiancée, Emily, had picked the restaurant herself, a place so expensive I had to book it weeks in advance. She said she wanted to make the night unforgettable. I guess she succeeded, just not in the way I expected. I kept checking my phone, scrolling through our old texts just to remind myself she used to care. The waiter came by 3 times, asking if I was ready to order, and I kept saying, "Not yet. She's on her way." He gave me that look, the one people give to someone who's waiting for a ghost. By the second hour, my wine had gone warm and my hope had gone cold. I stared at the empty chair across from me and wondered what I'd done wrong. Maybe I wasn't exciting enough. Maybe she found someone who made her feel more alive. I was still lost in thought when laughter burst from the restaurant's entrance. Emily walked in, stunning as ever, red dress clinging like confidence itself. But it wasn't the dress that froze me. It was the man beside her. She kissed him right there, in front of me, and said loud enough for half the room to hear, "See? Told you he'd still be here," like a pathetic puppy. The whole place went silent. My throat tightened, but I didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. I smiled, slow and calm. Something inside me shifted that night, something cold. When people imagine betrayal, they picture anger plates breaking, shouting, chaos. But mine came in silence. After she kissed him, Emily looked straight at me like she was expecting a scene. I could see the smirk forming the satisfaction of having the upper hand, but I refused to give her the show she wanted. I just smiled, placed my napkin gently on the table, and said, "You're right, Emily. I'm still here." My voice didn't shake. My hands didn't tremble. I stood up, fixed my suit jacket, and turned toward the waiter. "Could you please cancel the order? I lost my appetite." The waiter nodded, his eyes soft with pity. I walked out without looking back. Each step away from that table felt like stepping out of a cage I didn't even realize I'd built around myself. I could still hear her laughter echoing behind me, but it didn't sting, it just confirmed what I already knew. I had loved someone who never respected love. Outside, the night air was cold, but it felt cleaner than the air inside that restaurant. I stood there for a moment, watching couples walk by, realizing that the person who was supposed to celebrate me had just publicly tried to destroy me. I drove home in silence that night. No music, no tears, just thoughts. That was the night I promised myself I wouldn't beg, I wouldn't rage, and I definitely wouldn't break. I'd heal quietly and let karma handle the noise. The road back home was a blur of headlights and questions. Every red light felt like a pause in my chest, every green one like a dare to keep moving forward. My phone buzzed once, her name flashing across the screen, but I didn't pick up. I didn't need her apology. I needed distance. I parked outside our apartment complex and just sat there, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. How do you process something like that? The person you trusted with your heart publicly mocking you for still caring. When I finally went upstairs, everything inside the apartment screamed her name. The candles she bought, the jacket she left on the couch, the perfume that still lingered in the air, it all made me sick. For a moment, I almost smashed everything, but then I stopped. Why destroy things for someone who already destroyed my peace? I turned off the lights and sat in the dark, replaying the evening over and over, until numbness settled in like dust. I realized something important that night. Her cruelty wasn't spontaneous. It was planned. She wanted me humiliated, and she wanted witnesses, but that also meant she wanted a reaction. She wanted control. So, I decided she wouldn't get it. I'd give her silence in silence. When you expect chaos, is the loudest punishment of all. The next morning, I woke up with purpose. No tears, no hangover of sadness, just a strange, calm focus. I started packing her things, every dress, shoe, and piece of jewelry she'd left scattered across our place. Each item went into a black garbage bag, neatly folded. No anger in the movement, just finality. Neighbors might have thought I was moving out. In a way, I was moving out of pain, moving out of her shadow. By the time I was done, there were 6 bags lined up at the door. I carried them downstairs one by one, my body shaking not from sadness, but relief. When I placed the last bag outside by the sidewalk, I pulled out my phone and sent her a single text. Your belongings are waiting for you outside, just like I did. Then I turned off my phone, locked the door, and sat down on the couch. For the first time in months, the silence felt peaceful. No more anxiety about when she'd come home. No more pretending. Just me and the realization that dignity always costs something. That night, I slept without dreams, and for the first time, it didn't bother me. By noon the next day, the knocking began. Hard, frantic, like thunder. "Open this door, Marcus!" she shouted. I didn't move. When her voice cracked, I almost felt sorry for her almost. I waited until the banging stopped, then opened the door to find her standing there, mascara smeared, anger glowing through her fake tears. "Are you insane?" she yelled. "You threw out my stuff?" I met her gaze calmly and said, "No." I set it free. Her eyes widened, confused, as if she couldn't believe I wasn't on my knees. She tried guilt next, telling me how expensive her clothes were, how I'd ruined everything. But all I could think was how easily she'd ruin me in front of strangers. I told her she could take the bags or leave them, but she couldn't come back inside. The hallway grew quiet after that. She stood there for a few seconds, then grabbed one of the bags, muttering curses under her breath. Watching her walk away, I didn't feel revenge. I felt release. Some people think strength is about fighting back, but real strength is refusing to fight for something that doesn't deserve you. After she left, the apartment felt bigger, emptier, but not lonely. For the first few days, I didn't play music, didn't open the curtains, didn't even touch her side of the bed. It was strange how peaceful emptiness could feel after chaos. Then came the noise, the calls, the messages, the apologies wrapped in manipulation. She tried everything. I was drunk. He meant nothing. I just wanted to make you jealous. But betrayal doesn't become smaller when you explain it. It stays the same size, only your pride gets smaller if you accept it back. So I didn't respond. I let the phone ring until it stopped. Friends said she was posting cryptic things online, quotes about forgiveness and heartbreak. It didn't matter. My silence had become her mirror, forcing her to face herself. Meanwhile, I began to rediscover the parts of me she'd buried, the hobbies, the friends, the peace of being alone. Every morning, I took long walks instead of waiting for her good morning text. Every night, I slept without checking her social media. Freedom doesn't announce itself. It just starts to feel natural. And with each day that passed, I realized the truth. I never lost her. I escaped her. Healing wasn't fast. It was slow, messy, and often lonely. But it was mine. I started working out again, not to look better for anyone, but because I finally wanted to feel strong for myself. I threw myself into work, took on new clients, and earned more in those next few months than I had in the entire previous year. Every project became therapy, every paycheck, a reminder that I was enough all along. People noticed the change. Even my coworkers said I seemed lighter, calmer. I'd smile and say, I'm just prioritizing peace. But what I really meant was I'd stopped trying to prove my worth to someone who couldn't see it. I realized how much energy I'd wasted trying to make her happy, while she was busy collecting attention from others. Now, all that energy was coming back to me. There's a version of you that only heartbreak can create. The kind that doesn't seek validation, doesn't chase closure. I was becoming that man, one quiet victory at a time. It was almost 6 months later when fate decided to test me. I was at a friend's engagement party, same crowd, same city, different version of me. I was laughing, relaxed, truly happy, when I felt that familiar tap on my shoulder. Emily. She looked different, like life had humbled her. She smiled weakly. "You look good, Marcus," she said. "Peace suits you." I could have said something cutting, something that reminded her of the restaurant, the kiss, the humiliation, but instead, I just smiled and replied, "Peace looks good on everyone." Then I turned away. She stood there, waiting, maybe hoping I'd keep the conversation going, maybe hoping for a second chance. But I'd already learned the art of walking away, because sometimes the best closure is giving none. Her regret was visible. Mine was gone. A year passed. I was thriving, new apartment, new routines, new sense of self. One evening, as I was editing photos on my laptop, my phone buzzed. The name flashing on the screen was one I hadn't seen in months. Emily. Her message read, "I miss what we had." For a moment, I stared at it, not because I was tempted, but because I finally felt nothing. I typed back, "You don't miss me, Emily. You miss the version of me that tolerated you." Then, I blocked her. No anger, no satisfaction, just peace. People think revenge is about hurting back. It's not. Real revenge is becoming someone they can't access anymore. Someone who doesn't need to prove their healing. Someone who simply is. That night, I slept deeply, knowing the circle had closed exactly where it began. Except this time, I was free. Exactly 1 year later, I returned to that same restaurant, the same table, the same view of the river. But this time, I wasn't waiting. I was celebrating. My closest friends were around me, laughing, raising glasses. I ordered the most expensive meal on the menu, not to show off, but to remind myself I could. When the waiter asked if I wanted to keep the other side of the table empty, I said, "No, leave it. It's a reminder." As the candles flickered, I thought about that night, a year ago, the humiliation, the heartbreak, the silence, and I smiled, because everything she used to call weakness, my patience, my calmness, my loyalty, had become my strength. I raised my glass, looked at the empty chair, and whispered, "Thank you, Emily. You taught me not every loss is a bad one." And as I laughed with real friends under soft lights, I realized something powerful. The best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's becoming someone who doesn't need to.